It began with a sound the world hadn't heard in decades, a trembling emergency broadcast tone echoing through living rooms, offices, and car radios across North America. At first, most thought it was a mistake, a technical glitch. But when the voice of the U.S. Defense Secretary broke through the static, the truth slammed into millions like a tidal wave. Canada has declared war on the United States. Initial operations have begun in Alaska. Asterisk for a moment, time froze. The idea seemed impossible. Canada, the friendly neighbor, the polite partner, the ally in countless wars now turning its might against America. Yet the images rolling in told a story no one could deny. Military convoys crossing the frozen Yukon border. Fighter jets streaking through the Alaskan sky. Naval movements in the icy waters of the Beaufort Sea. The world had changed in an instant. Asterisk, the roots of this conflict had been quietly growing for years. Sources inside Ottawa claimed the spark was not hatred, but desperation. Climate change had drastically altered Canada's northern territories. Melting permafrost, shifting coastlines, and opening previously unreachable resources. But in Alaska-rich in oil, minerals, and strategic Arctic shipping lanes, Canada saw not just opportunity, but survival. The U.S., unwilling to renegotiate territorial waters or drilling rights, had left Canada feeling cornered. Now, Prime Minister Elise Moreau stood before Parliament, her voice steady yet burdened. We have tried diplomacy. We have tried compromise. Now, we must act for the future of our people. Asterisk, for many Americans in Alaska, the war didn't come as bombs, it came as confusion. In the small fishing town of Sitka, 62-year-old Ed Turner watched Canadian troops roll past his harbor. They weren't firing. They weren't shouting. They were just there. Like they'd already decided it was theirs. Families packed, bags, schools closed, and the once peaceful streets filled with the sound of helicopters and rumbling engines. Asterisk, back in Washington. The president addressed the nation, her tone resolute. We will defend every inch of American soil. We do not seek war, but we will not surrender Alaska. The words ignited a surge of patriotism, but also fear. Memories of past wars, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, flashed in the minds of millions. This time, the enemy wasn't across an ocean. It was right across the world's longest undefended border. No longer UNDEFENDED. Asterisk, the first clashes were swift and surgical. In the icy wilderness near Fairbanks, U.S. Rangers engaged a Canadian Special Forces unit in a battle that lasted hours, both sides fighting with precision and restraint. We're not out here to kill each other, one U.S. soldier later confided. But orders are orders. That strange restraint, the knowledge that these were once allies, made every engagement heavier, every decision more agonizing. Asterisk, meanwhile, the people of Alaska found themselves in a moral limbo. Some wanted to fight for the stars and stripes. Others, especially those with deep family ties to Canada, pleaded for peace. Native communities, straddling both sides of the border for centuries, were torn apart overnight. My cousins are on the other side, wearing a different uniform, said 19-year-old Inuit fisherman Noah Ikalok. We used to hunt together. Now we stare at each other through binoculars. Asterisk, international reaction was swift and fractured. NATO allies were stunned, legally bound to both countries, but unable to take sides without tearing the alliance apart. Russia and China, watching from afar, saw opportunity in the chaos. Oil prices spiked, stock markets tumbled, and in Arctic, towns from Nome to Inuvik, the northern lights shimmered over a world slipping into uncertainty. Asterisk, yet amid the fear, there were flickers of hope. A joint civilian effort, led by Alaskan and Canadian elders, began ferrying messages across the border, not for governments, but for families. Photos, letters, and even food crossed enemy lines under informal ceasefires. They can fight up. "They're in the government towers," said Elder Marianne Tuck too. "But down here, we will remember we are still people." Asterisk, the war's outcome remains uncertain. Skirmishes continue, the diplomatic channels are fractured, and the Arctic winds carry both the howl of jet engines and the silence of a peace that feels impossibly far away. But history has shown that wars, even between brothers, can end. And when they do, they can leave behind not just scars, but lessons. Asterisk, for now. Alaska stands as the first battlefield in a conflict no one truly wanted, but one that may define a generation. As the snow falls over a divided North, one question echoes across frozen forests, icy shores, and quiet living rooms. If even the closest of friends can become enemies, how quickly can enemies become friends again?